Hey, it's Maximo and welcome to Maximo's Travels. If you've ever contemplated hiring a car in Japan, well, this video is for you. We booked a car through OTS Car Rental in the subtropical island of Okinawa in Japan. This video will cover the experience of hiring and driving that car. I'll cover how to book a car, what important documents you need when you're picking up your car, some of the tips and tricks of driving in Japan. I'll cover what some of the important road rules are that you need to be aware of and give you an indication of the likely costs involved. And I'll give you a sneak peek of some of the stunning views and landscapes that we saw in Okinawa. Please join me on this not to be missed video. We spent 7 absolutely fantastic days in Okinawa. And whilst you can spend all your time in Naha, the main city, it is advisable to explore the rest of the island. The island is quite large. It measures around 100 kilometers long, or about 60 miles, and about 20 miles, or about 30 kilometers wide at its widest part. And while there are buses that provide public transport to all areas of the island, there's nothing like hiring a car for the freedom that it brings and your ability to go and explore off the beaten path attractions, as well as explore to the northern tip of the island. Hiring a car is ideal for the independent traveller. We used OTS Car Rental. I'll leave a link for that in the description. It was a very, very good service. Other companies are Times, Toyota, Nissan, and Nippon Car Rental. All, I believe, are quite good. I hadn't used OTS Car Rental before, and I was pleasantly surprised by just how good they were. They had a fleet of new, clean, modern cars and had a number of conveniently located car rental establishments. OTS's check-in systems were efficient. Their staff was really courteous. Quite a few of the staff spoke very good English, and it's one of the few rental car companies that actually took us to the car and not just thrown us the keys and said, it's in bay, whatever. Very, very good, efficient, excellent service, OTS. We chose to pick up our hire car near the Naha airport. Very conveniently, they have a shuttle bus that takes you from the airport to the car rental establishment itself. It's a free service and it leaves around about every 30 to 40 minutes. The car we rented was a Toyota Roomy. It was a cute, relatively small, boxy little thing, and whilst we thought it was going to be quite underpowered, it wasn't too bad. I think it had a 3-cylinder 1-litre engine that did quite well. It also had very efficient air conditioning and really unexpected features like a sat-nav that we just couldn't for the life of us work out how to use, so we used our phone instead, as well as having radar cruise control and just being a very nice little comfortable car with sufficient space for 4 suitcases. Now, it's not exactly easy renting a car in Japan. The websites are sometimes hard to follow. There's a lot to read, and there's certain must-dos. You must have an international driver's license. You must supply your local driver's license, and you must supply a passport when you pick up the car. These are all explained on the website. As well as that, you must do a compulsory lesson on how to drive a car, what some of the road rules are in Japan, and some general tips as to what to do in the event of an accident or you damaging their car. It is a little bit different driving in Japan, and there's a number of road rules that must be observed. They drive on the left-hand side of the road, so if you're coming from the US or Canada, it might be a little bit hard for you to adjust. Coming from Australia, we drive on the left, so driving in Japan for us was relatively straightforward. All passengers must wear seatbelts at all time. Japan has a zero tolerance policy when it comes to drink driving. You can't really have any alcohol in your system whatsoever. So if you're driving, do not drink. You must not use your mobile phone when driving, and also the number for the emergency services is different in Japan. 000 in the case of Australia, or 911 in the case of the US and Canada won't work. If you need to call the police, dial 110. If you need the ambulance, dial 119. One of the key things about driving in Okinawa is some of the absolutely fantastic landscapes that you'll pass by. It's difficult not to be mesmerized by the emerald green waters, so pay attention when you're driving and make frequent stops if you want to take in some of that landscape. There's quite a few areas by the side of the road that one can pull up, so use those and pay attention to where you're driving. Another thing to watch out for is the weather. The weather in subtropical areas such as Okinawa can be quite unpredictable. Often showers will appear out of nowhere, quite heavy thunderstorms as well. On the last day that we were driving back to the airport, we went through quite a heavy set of rainstorms as we were dodging a typhoon. Half a day later, typhoon struck Okinawa. It was the worst typhoon to strike the area in over 30 years, so we were quite lucky with our timing on that one. Some of the roads in Okinawa are quite small and narrow, but for the most part they are wide and multi-lane. Also, expect traffic, especially in the city areas. Stuck in traffic, Joe? I guess if you're needing to go to the airport, you need to allow plenty of time.
Yes, we're due to drop our car back at 9:25, very precise. And I think we'll just make it, but we did build in an extra hour leeway.
We did.
And it's currently 8:39, and Google Maps tells us we're 13 minutes away.
Pretty slow going.
Yeah.
Lots of traffic, bumper to bumper, with frequent stops. If you're looking for a petrol station, most of these are full service. So just pull up and let the very efficient and courteous workmen do their magic, and you can pay with credit cards for the most part as well. One of the things that you need to look out for when driving in Okinawa is the speed limit. The maximum speed limit on the freeways is 80 kilometers an hour, or around about 50 miles an hour, and the speed limit is strictly enforced. Some of the roads are only down to 30 or 40 kilometers an hour, so if you're going from one end of the island to the other, you do need to allow a couple of hours, because it can be quite slow going with the slow speeds of some of the roads. Another thing to look out for is traffic lights. The traffic lights in Okinawa aren't that well marked. In Australia, we usually have traffic lights at each of the four corners of an intersection. In Okinawa, they only appeared at the far corners of both intersections. Sometimes they were quite low and hard to distinguish from the buildings. A couple of times we couldn't see the traffic lights because we were travelling a bit too close to big buses or cars and did go through a red light. One of the things that happens is if you see a truck flash his brakes, it's generally an indication that the light either has turned red or is about to turn red. So just be careful of that. And just some advice for you: if you're unfortunately involved in an accident or damage your rental car, even if it's your own fault, you must report the accident or damage to both the police and the rental company. The rental companies are quite strict on this policy, so look out for that.
Meanwhile,
another thing you need to be wary of is parking. While there's plenty of parking by the beach and by the roads, especially along Route 58, a lot of the parking in the city of Naha, as well as some of the attractions such as the Blue Cave, are paid. So it's always wise to have plenty of change, coins about you to pay for the parking. And on the subject of parking, one of the unique things of Japan is their automated car parks. These are generally multi-level things that are quite difficult to navigate. The staff usually don't speak English and it's hard to work out what you need to do. All the signs are in Japanese and there's a recording of a Japanese person speaking and giving you instructions. But poor Joe, who drove in, was fairly clueless and was slightly traumatized by the experience. What you need to do is drive into the little ramp, get out of the car, and let the automated car park work its magic. Joe eventually got out of the car and the automated car park worked its magic and whooshed the car away. It was really quite fascinating to watch. It costs around 1,000 yen or 10 Australian dollars for the car to be parked overnight, and the process of retrieving it was a hell of a lot easier and less stressful than the process of depositing it in the first place. We were slightly uneasy about seeing the car getting whooshed away, but thankfully there were no issues and we picked it up successfully in the morning. And finally, some of the views that you're driving along the road, especially Route 58 that travels most of the length of the island, is stunning and simply breathtaking. I'll leave you to enjoy some of the sights that we took driving along Route 58 and some of the lesser roads in Okinawa.
Something holding me back. Cut ties, no lies inside, and I never meant to say that. My eyes wide, I'm running high, seaside, and I never wanna go back. A long drive into the night.
It's very high, isn't it? Very, very high.
one weekend of pampering later.
On our last day, we were battling torrential rain and one of the worst typhoons to hit in 30 years. Having a hire car gave us tremendous flexibility and allowed us to hit many off the beaten path spots that many tourists, especially Western tourists, wouldn't normally come to. The cost of the hire car was around about 26,000 yen or about 260 Australian dollars. Made the rental quite affordable, just over 50 Australian dollars per day.
On our way home.
We took it nice and slow on our drive back to Naha Airport. We were so fortunate that the typhoon and the bad weather had arrived at the end of our trip and hadn't interrupted our plans at all. We drove back into Naha and encountered quite heavy traffic. We returned the car to OTS Car Rental, just located near Naha Airport, and caught the complimentary shuttle to the airport. I would recommend OTS Car Rental to you. They were a great company to deal with and very efficient systems and friendly people. I'd also highly recommend driving in Okinawa. I do hope you've liked this video. If so, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. Hit that notify bell so you'll never miss another upcoming video. If you'd like to support my channel, please consider buying me a coffee or hit that super thanks button. My next video series will be from Merimbula in New South Wales, Australia. So look out for those videos. Until next time, you take care and bye now.